Hey, what's going on, everybody? I threw the axle back in. Figure you guys didn't need to see that. That's pretty straightforward process. But I'm gonna throw the axle back in. I'm gonna throw the tires back on, the bed back on, and then the rear shackles have 1 inch adjustability to bring the axle up another inch. So I'm gonna do that and bring that up, then get everything settled, all that kind of good stuff, and then see how the wheel is in the wheel arch, and then that's exactly where I want it. Then I'm going to go ahead and mount up my shocks. So I'll need to cut those brackets off. That bracket's going to be useless because the bar is going to be up here, and then I need to cut that bracket off too. So I need to cut both brackets off the rear end, and that one we're not worrying about because I'm going to cut that out anyways once I get the tube in there. So we'll get that going, get the bed on, get the wheels back on, and then see how she sits. See if I'm happy with that. If I'm happy with that, then we're going to run with that, or I'll move it back up. We'll see. Because I don't want this thing too terribly low. Like, I want it low, but I don't want it like uncomfortably low to where, like, you know, it's beating up my kidneys the whole time I'm driving it. So we'll get that going and see how I feel about that. Alright, so there she is. That wasn't too terrible. Bed popped on and off like as quick as it normally does. But yeah, that's about what I'm looking at for a wheel gap. It's not super low, but it's not jacked up there, so you know, I'll have plenty of room for them big bumps and stuff while I'm driving it. Looks pretty good. I still need to replace my my quarters or my fender wells, so I'll probably get to that sometime this summer. Yeah, because that'll be like a long weekend thing, where I just bring it in here and then hammer these out. So this side's not that bad. Still bad because you can see it's rusting from the back side because all those are basically pinholes where the rust is seeping through. So I mean, but the other side is real bad. It's like starting to bubble and stuff. But I gotta replace those, and yeah, turned out pretty well. Pretty well. And I can always adjust it a little bit lower if I need to, because I have to do, like I said before, I have to do the front end yet, because the front end is still all stock. But I do have just drop spindles for that. It's 2-inch drop spindles. So, but I might have to cut like half a coil off or whatnot. Any more than that, I'll probably get like they have drop coils for these trucks. I'll get that, but then that would almost be too low, because then for the size tire that I'm running, everything would start rubbing. But yeah, that's what she's gonna look like when she's on the floor. So I just gotta get the shocks in. So not super low, but not all sitting up in the air getting a nosebleed anymore. And it'll settle a little bit yet though too. So no matter how much I jump on the rear end, it's still gonna, you know, need time to settle from driving and whatnot. Plus I have to put all new bushings and all that stuff in there too. So yeah. So we'll get the bed back off, the wheels back off, and then start setting up my shocks. Get this thing on the road hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. Alright, so I got the axle out and I cut the brackets off. Or not brackets, I only cut the one bracket off. That was the one that was flipped around the other way. So I cut that off. And I cut it off, and then I had to re-weld a couple spots on there. Because like I cut too much with the cutoff wheel, because I was trying to save the bracket more than the axle tube, because the axle tube I could just, you know, weld back in and then, you know, grind it down like I did. I mean, I didn't dig super deep into it to where like I would like start leaking fluid or any silly stuff like that. But yeah, cut the bracket off, which was this bracket. Then all I did was copy that bracket. So it's 1/6 and 1/8 of an inch to the inside of the bracket. both the front and the rear of the bracket, like right there and right there. And then it's just square with the axle tube. And then this is at 31 degrees. That doesn't make any, like, that's not like how it's in the chassis. That's just how it's sitting on these jack stands. It's 31 degrees. So all I did was take that 31 degrees, match it with that, or match this one to that one by 31 degrees, and then from here to there is 6 1/8. And then I just did for the degrees, I just popped my little protractor on there at the 31 degrees, and then I just welded it up. So that's on there, so those are good to go. So my shock brackets are good to go from the axle. I was gonna do my the flip kit. I'm just gonna weld those on there because like they have like these longer tabs on them for like centering, or not centering, but that gives you your angle for your pinion. And you put that on there, and then they touch the factory spring perch. So I was just gonna pop those on there, and then I'm gonna weld those up. These are so damn rusty that I don't know if I can get them clean enough, or if I'm just gonna say screw it and leave the inside rusty and then just clean up the outside as well as I can. And then when I do sandblast the rear end, try to get in here as well as I can, but I'm not sure what I want to do. But yeah, I'll figure that out. Because, I mean, I got the welder here and I got it set up to weld, you know, for, you know, the thicker rear end stuff. So I have it on the 230 again. So I might do that. I don't know. I mean, this ain't no show truck. So, I mean, there's going to be, you know, rust on it here and there. Can't make everything perfect. Especially if I want to get this thing done. So, we'll see. Yeah, I'll probably just end up cleaning those brackets and then welding them on and calling it a day. Because I still got to weld these ones on. If I weld these ones on, then I'm going to cut those ones off. Because that's my intention. Because then that way I don't have, you know, 2 sets of brackets on there. Because at that point, this one's just adding useless weight. So, you cut those off. And then I can also cut the tabs off of these too once I get the other spring perch cut off. And I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about trying to save the bracket for spring perch. Because, like, those are pretty cheap. So I might just cut those off. I don't know. We'll see. I'll update you when I get that far. Yeah, this is where I got so far. Got that all welded up. Good to go. So, making some good progress tonight. See how it goes from here. I'll update you when I can. Alright, so I decided to just clean the brackets up the best I can, and then I'm just going to weld them on. Call it a day. Can't really, you know, be going ham on it. But, quick rant. I don't know if this kind of stuff bothers anybody else, but, you know, I mean, when I used to weld, like, street rods and, like, I would have to weld parts every now and then. Like, I mean, I was no perfectionist, but I would like stuff to be neat and tidy. Like, what the hell's that? Like, you couldn't finish welding it? Not to mention, like, the undercut and all kinds of other crap wrong with this bracket. Like, how hard is it to take a little bit of pride in your work? Like, if this was like, I was welding this, I would tack these ends first. Because that'll give you a nice solid end to weld to. So I would have tacked all 4 of these, and then, you know, I would have started over here, and then just piled my weld up, and then once I stopped there, it would all look neat and tidy. But no, it's all undercut and not finished welded and all this other kind of shit. Like, I hate that. Absolutely hate it. Because now I have to go in here and try to, I mean, I'm not going to, but I'm going to try to go in here and clean all this up and see if I can throw some weld in there. Because, I mean, it's going to take me a while if I were to want to fix all the undercut, because there's so much porosity or, like, scale and rust in there that it would just take me forever. Like, and I don't have any of my sandblasting stuff set up, so I can't really get these things as clean as I would like. So I'm just wire brushing the inside, getting as much of the chewy chunks off as I can. And then I'm gonna have to go back and weld this stuff like as best I can. I'll probably still get quite a bit of porosity just because of how much rust is in there. But yeah, that was just my quick little rant of stuff that irritates me with like aftermarket stuff. Is like, why wouldn't you weld the rest of that? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, well, rant over. Alright, so I lied. I went ahead and re-welded those. I took a, weld buster, went through and knocked most of the weld out, and then I took a MIG welder and then just turned it down a little bit. Didn't go crazy with it because I'm just trying to fill it in. I'm not trying to re-weld it. And I just did big circles all the way around. And I came back and then ground them down. Now they look a little bit better. They're not perfect, but they're better. Like I said before, I don't want to go crazy on it. It'll have, little spots where, I could fill the weld in, but I'm not going to. So I got both of them welded on and good to go. I think this is a good stopping point for tonight and tonight's video. So I'm gonna cut these off next, the stock perches. So I'll have to flip the axle back over, cut those perches off, and then grind them down, because I'm not gonna save those perches. There's no point in those perches. Spring perches are super cheap. I'm not sure what they go for, but I know they can't be more than 10-20 bucks for perches. But if I were to go do anything on this truck, I would do like a 3-link setup to get rid of the leaf springs, because I'm not really a big fan of leaf springs. But this truck isn't gonna be like anything like my dad's. It's just gonna be a leaf spring. It's gonna pull stuff around, all that kind of jazz. So I'm definitely in here doing stuff, so my my OCD kicks in a little bit, because I like things a certain way, and I can't, like, especially with like brackets like this, I just can't do it. I can't leave them alone and just put them back on there knowing that they're all undercut and not welded completely, and it would just drive me insane. And I also did on the inside of the bracket, I knocked as much of the chunks off as I possibly could. Then I went through and I did a rust converter, and not rust converter, a rust reformer, and then I just threw some paint over it. I know I'm supposed to let it cure for 24 or 48 hours, but I figured 20 minutes was enough. I'm not trying to go crazy with it. And then I threw some more paint over it, and then I welded them up. So they turned out pretty well. Like I said before, no MIG welder. They turned out all right. So it is what it is. We'll get this going and call it a day. Put the axle back in the truck after I get those brackets cut off, and honestly, it's not too much more till I can bust everything apart completely and start sandblasting. Because I'm going to sandblast the axle too right away, because then I can get that all painted and nice and pretty. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take that completely apart or if I'm just going to blast up to here, because I do need to paint the shields as well. But I did bend the hell out of one of them because I dropped the axle. So yeah, that other one was bent like that. Well, that one's not bent, but it was bent like that. So I took the hammer and piece of metal to it and fixed it. But we'll see. Didn't mean to move the camera that fast. But yeah, I'll bend that back and hammer and dolly it and fix it. Because those dust shields are there for a reason. I'm not going to ditch them. So yeah. I don't know. I think that's pretty good for this video. I'll make another video tomorrow and make as many videos as I can and crank them out, because who knows who's watching them. I don't think anybody's watching my videos yet, but I'll try to get more videos out and then get better videos. As soon as I can get a computer to start editing stuff, I'll do that. But as far as right now goes, I have to do everything on my phone. I still think the videos turned out pretty well for recording off my phone and uploading off my phone. But it's really easy. So, all right. Well, till tomorrow. Then we can hop back at it. Get another video up. All right. Well, I'll see you guys later.